with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
And a good Sunday afternoon, everyone. It's 1:05. It's beautiful outside. The sky is blue. Not a cloud in the sky, Eleni.
Nope.
And it's not warm, but, you know, it's...
It's beautiful. The sun is out. That's when people buy real estate and get mortgages, Terry. Come on.
Exactly.
This is it.
And this is me and Eleni here. We're putting the real in real estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Show, everyone. I'm your host, Terry Kilakos, chartered mortgage broker and president of Northeast Mortgages and founder of Northeast Group of Companies. Thank you for joining me. In studio with me, we have Eleni Akrivos, chartered real estate broker and president of Northeast Realties. Welcome, Eleni.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to be talking about buying your first investment property, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because it's good, sometimes it could be bad, and there's some pretty ugly stuff that happens sometimes. Don't forget, you can always join the conversation by calling in with your questions at 514-790-0800 or texting in 514-800. You can also watch the show and comment on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Northeast Mortgages. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel, which is newsonthego.ca. But before we kind of get into talking about investment properties, let's take a little bit of a look of what's going on in the market, as we usually like to do before our show kicks off.
Yep.
Eleni, what's going on the real estate front?
Well, we don't have much time to get into everything. So I know everybody loves to hear about neighborhoods. All right. So as we're getting into the buying season, market conditions in the province of Quebec are balanced. All right. But we keep hearing about the seller's market.
Sure.
So I just wanted to share with everybody the top 10 neighborhoods that are definitely seller's market. What does that mean? We have a very low months of inventory, which means a home is on the market less than 8 months. These areas, things basically are just flying, off the shelf. So we have number 1, City of Pincourt, off island. Number 2, Kirkland. Number 3, Verdun. Number 4, DDO, where you live.
Nice.
Number 5, Dorval.
Go DDO.
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of West Island, but Pincourt is number 1, again, off island. We're seeing 2 cities of South Shore. So number 6 is Boucherville. Number 7, Pointe Claire. Number 8, Beaconsfield. Number 9, Greenfield Park, which is in the South Shore.
Very interesting.
And number 10 is Plateau. So you notice the trend is West Island, English neighborhoods, but two boroughs of South Shore, which is also interesting. What does it mean in these areas? If you're a buyer, you're not going to have a lot of choice of property, and you're going to be up against probably multiple offers.
You find it's been going on more and more. I mean, we've talked about it on the show, how you have, property goes up for sale and all of a sudden you end up having like this bidding war on it.
But not everywhere. So that's what I'm saying. I want people to understand that it's in specific areas. These are the top 10 hottest markets.
Interesting.
Do you have to buy there? No, you can buy somewhere else. Again, if you're investing, we're going to get into it later. If you're a first-time buyer, think outside the box. I think that today we're going to really look at different strategies and thinking outside the box, and not just, buying necessarily in an area because you like the area.
Sure.
Maybe there's different things you have to look at.
Definitely.
So that's one thing. The second thing that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, there's been a lot of stuff in the news about the new condos, all that stuff. Last year, 2018, Valérie Plante's administration brought in new rules for the home ownership program. So financial assistance for not only new owners, but also existing homes, okay? So basically they increased the subsidies. I invite people to actually take a look at them. Call us at the office. Our brokers can help you. I've had a couple of clients who've applied. It took them some time. There's criteria. You have to be eligible. But you know what? You can get money back.
They
up
are
to 15,000.
100%, and they're a good option in some cases. In some cases, not. I always tell people you got to kind of go with things on a case-by-case basis because, you got to remember the government never gives you anything without expecting something in return. And, I could rewind time when I bought my first property and, it's funny. I had a client this week, and she came in, and she was like, "You bought your first place when you were 24, right?"
And so did I
remember
by the
you
way.
listening to your story. Yeah, but
Wow.
I've said it enough times. And when I first bought, the phone call that I made.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is interesting because this will actually kind of go into the topic that we're going to be covering today. When I was thinking about the area to buy, I said, what's going to be an area that's going to go up in value. That's what I was interested in. So I said, what better way to find out than call the city? To me, I was like, if I call the city's going to tell me which areas are having subsidies, which areas are kind of in development.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I picked up the phone, I called Ville de Montréal, and I said, which areas are you offering subsidies in right now? And they said, we're offering in Hochelaga Maisonneuve at the time. There was here, there was there. So I basically took that information and I used it as a way to buy my first place.
Yeah.
When I ended up buying, I never actually took advantage of any of those subsidies. Because in my case, it would have been detrimental to me. There was too many restrictions. So because of the restrictions, I said, I'm not interested, but I like the fact that there's subsidies.
Yeah, and again, is everybody going to be able to find a property that fits into these programs? Maybe not. But you know what? Maybe you're on a limited budget. Maybe we have clients. They come to me and they say, I want a house. Then I look at their budget. It's like $250. But you know what, guys? Have you ever thought of a condo? No. Our parents told us not to buy a condo. But you know what? I have couples who have bought a condo, and after 2-3 years, they were able, because they bought, at the right price, right location, they were able to move on to a home. So you have to keep your options open. Take a look at those programs, and we can help you look at them and see if they make sense for you.
Very cool. On the mortgage front, we got some news as well. So this year there was the reports that came in, and lo and behold,
dun, dun, dun.
Mortgage growth has shrunk to a 17-year low in Canada. Now, Terry's about to rant.
What does that mean?
Okay. What it means is, that we are seeing numbers right now that we haven't seen in the last 17 years. The new government rules that were basically put in, and, I don't want every single show that we have to be about me ranting about the government rules.
We don't have a
choice. But it just seems that... Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's basically shrunk to a 17-year low. Now, this causes a lot of problems because you have to understand something. Mortgages are lost leaders. And because a mortgage is a lost leader for a bank, typically, they use a mortgage, which is kind of the bread and butter of a bank, to get a client through the door. Once the client gets through the door, then they're able to cross-sell them insurance. They're able to cross-sell them a whole bunch of
lines
stuff. Lines of credit, credit cards, bank accounts, all the other wonderful things that they use then to basically make more money on. It's their way of stealing clients from other banks. So, for example, if you're with Bank ABC and your mortgage is up for renewal and you have a better rate with Bank XYZ, Bank XYZ that doesn't have your business will entice you to come in, and then once you come in, they're going to cross-sell you the moon and the stars, and they're going to make their money in other ways. But the point is, banks are suffering right now because of the fact that there's these things. And actually, economists are telling people to revisit their investment strategies and look at whether or not it's actually a good idea to continue investing in banks if these rules kind of continue. And we've actually have a couple of funds out in the States, one of which were very big in kind of going against the markets in the States. They're actually starting to bet against the Canadian banks. So there's all kinds of interesting things. The banks' lobbyists are working hard to basically get the government to start reversing some of the decisions that they make. So they're looking at stretching amortizations again to 30 years. They're looking at, changing the stress test. They're looking at even when you're coming into qualify for a mortgage, when it's a renewal, whether or not the stress test is actually applicable. So there's all kinds of interesting things. Remains to be seen what's going to happen.
And when are we going to see that stuff?
It's election year. We're going to see it before the elections. Anyways, more to come on the real estate show, including the good, the bad, and the ugly. Buying your first investment property. Now we're off to CJAD's Traffic Center with Kira Yeager.
There's a little bit of an issue right now on the Metropolitan eastbound at around Saint-Laurent. You are going to find it slow. Basically, from around Rockland to Saint-Laurent, it will slow you down. So it looks like we have a stalled vehicle in the area.
Did you share the Facebook on my page? Hi, guys. How's everybody? Send us your questions, your comments, your love. Send us whatever you can. So, we'll talk about it maybe after and let people know about the gala and give them information.
Absolutely. Definitely. If you guys have any questions regarding anything that is real estate, credit, mortgage related, now's your time. We're live on Facebook as well. If your question is good enough, which they all are, we're going to say it on the air as well. So.
Yeah, some people, last time we had a lot of questions, they didn't want to be on air talking to us, so write us on Facebook.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of questions. We got a caller as well. So I think that right off the traffic, what we'll do is I'll just go to the I'll go to the caller and then we can jump to the text.
So what you're saying about mortgages, Terry, because I always tell people I have the mortgage license, but I'm not a mortgage broker and it's not my specialty, which is why I work with Terry. So what you're saying is that people the funds are being restructured in terms of like the investment in Canadian mortgages? Like when you were talking about the funds, I didn't get that part. You were
the
talking
American
about
funds,
the American
the
funds.
hedge funds.
No, sorry. So basically, okay, so if you remember Chris Burry, okay, it's not Chris Burry that's betting against the Canadian banks. Not Chris Burry, sorry. Michael Burry. By the way, if Chris Burry is watching this, not Chris Burry. Chris Burry is the programming director for CJAD.
I mean, he's watching.
Yeah, so Myra, you can who's watching right now, you can tell him that I just talked about him. Anyways, so Michael Burry, who had Scion Fund. Okay, so Scion Fund was a fund in the States that he foresaw the collapse of the real estate market in the States, but it was because of the way that it was set up. So when he foresaw it, he actually created vehicles to bet against the banks that were basically in the real estate market.
Okay.
There is funds right now, and there is fund managers in the States right now which are looking at Canadian banks, and they're actually in the process of betting against them.
Okay.
One of which was actually someone that was very big in the last. He bet against the banks in 2008 in the States, and now he's betting against the banks in Canada. You know, and considering we're looking at it and we're saying that we have such a stable economy here and we have such stable banking system, their banking system here, the way that it differs from the States is that it doesn't take chances.
It's more conservative.
It's
That's
a lot
what we've
more
seen.
conservative.
Yeah,
which is good.
I mean, there was an article by I think it was the CEO of Royal LePage saying he's happy about the strict rules that came in. Actually, it's I think one of the only people that I've heard saying it's. I'm just telling you, it's an article that came out, CEO of Royal LePage. So I think everybody has their own opinions. I think the idea was to not overheat the market, but I think in some markets like ours, it actually put a little bit of a dent in it. But then again, no, because there's always ways to get financing, right?
100%.
There's always a way.
So we go to the caller?
Sure. So it didn't share on all the pages, but I'm just sharing it manually.
It didn't share?
It's okay. I didn't see it shared. Usually it goes on my page, Northeast Realties, but I'm sharing it. It's okay. It's all good.
I didn't share yet. I didn't get a chance.
The Real Estate Show with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. We're talking about buying investment properties today on the CJAD Real Estate Show. On the line, we have Nicholas from RDP who has a comment or question. Nicholas, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Absolutely.
My question is as follows,
Sure.
that right now my mortgage is due in 2 years or so, and I'm already approached by other institutions by saying, we'll be more than happy to absorb the penalty if you have a mortgage signed with us. So I said, well, there's a 2-year mortgage left over, meaning for the next 5 years, but they'd be more than happy to absorb the penalty for breaking the contract in that it lasts for 2 years as long as I sign up with them for another 5 years.
Yeah.
That's a money-losing situation for that institution who are willing to absorb that penalty and for me to be signing up for them for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's more of a money losing situation for you. Unfortunately, the banks, they rarely do stuff that costs them anything. You got to kind of look at it like this. If a bank is willing to absorb your penalty, that means that there's a couple of ways of doing it. So the first thing is they're going to take that penalty and they're going to roll it into the new mortgage, okay? So if they do that, at that point, you have a mortgage with a higher balance, okay, which puts you in a disadvantage because now you're paying interest on that penalty that you wouldn't have paid before. So that's way number one that they do it. Way number two is they tell you, well, we're going to give you a cashback for your mortgage. Typically, when you get a cashback, it comes at a higher interest rate. Now, the problem with a cashback mortgage as well is if you ever decide to break that mortgage in the next 5 years, so let's say, 2 years from now, you decide you want to sell your house, you need to refinance, something comes up that you need to break that mortgage. Life does happen, and statistics show that 80% of mortgages typically get broken between the third to the fourth year. Okay, so keep that in mind. What ends up happening is that cashback that they gave you is due in full, plus your penalty that you paid. Yeah, so let's say you had a $5,000-$6,000 penalty. Add that to the penalty that they would actually charge you for breaking the next mortgage. So you're basically at that point, you're tied to them for a very long time. Typically, the calculation that I like to do is I look at what rate the client has right now, and I say, okay, let's say, you got a very high rate, then we look at what rate we can give you, we calculate penalties in there, and then based on a whole series of calculations, we make the decision together whether or not it's a good time to break it or keep it in force. That's what I would recommend you do. Actually do the calculations properly and do them with yourself or someone that actually is looking out for you.
Wonderful. So it goes back to what I was saying. Nothing is for free in this world.
100%, Nicholas.
One second question.
Sure.
In regards, I live in a condo complex. We're with 7 people, 7 owners, and we all had a fireplace. Then, of course, with the new law with the city of Montreal, I am the only one out of 7 who replaced their fireplace with one that is confirmed with the new law, with the new bylaw, with the smoke and all that.
Yep.
However, the other ones at $2,000 replaced it, condemned their fireplace, and they put electrical ones. I did not condemn mine. I just spent about $8,000 to install one that is approved and all that. Do you think in about 5 or 10 years I can make that back?
Eleni, you want to take that?
Sure. So you, so just to confirm, you changed to exactly what when you upgraded it?
Gas or electric?
Yeah, that would be a wood fireplace. A wood fireplace that wasn't approved, that wasn't up to code up until the last year.
But what did you install? Sorry, so you spent $8,000. Is it a gas burning fireplace, or is it just a wood that like a pellet wood fireplace?
It's a wood fireplace that has a low emission.
Okay, perfect. So to answer your question, are you going to get the $8,000 back? I think the fireplace is going to definitely add a certain value and a certain charm, and you will definitely get more, for your condo than, for example, your neighbors. Right. Will you get the actual $8,000 back? That's going to depend on how long you're going to keep the condo.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's super. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicholas. Have a great day.
Bye.
We have a text here as well. Hi, Terry. Unique real estate question for you. I bought an off-grid solar property up north, cottage country, 3 years ago. It will cost the same amount to put it on the grid as it would to add more solar energy. What do you think would be a better investment for the future resale? Thank you. You wanna?
He didn't mention what area?
No, but you know what? I've actually sat down and I've done calculations because we have a bunch of we have our place up north and we've got some land, and I've thought about putting off-grid properties. Yeah. Now the problem with off-grid properties is they have to have batteries in there, right? Which need to store the charge and all that kind of good stuff. So you charge them during the day, and the most effective way usually of setting up a solar system is where you use it in conjunction with Hydro-Quebec, right? So basically you have your solar panels, you have a bank that basically will feed your will give you power in case of power outage, but typically you're injecting that power back into the grid. By injecting that power into the grid, Hydro-Quebec is actually buying that power back from you. When they do that, obviously they're buying it at a cheaper rate than what they sell it at, which is not good. But typically that's the most cost-effective way of doing it, especially in Quebec, because our hydropower, people are not going to like what I'm about to say, it is cheap. And even though I don't like Hydro-Quebec, it is cheap compared to anywhere else in pretty much the world. Okay, so I think I would do something along those lines. I think that you should be hooked up to the grid if it makes sense for you to do it. I mean, if it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, then don't. But
I think it depends also where the property is, because I have definitely heard that there's a demand for these type of properties, and I'm also seeing more and more people doing what the texter is saying. So I think it would just be considered a unique property, like he said, but there's going to be a market for that. So.
Yeah, I think also as kind of years go by and battery technology becomes better and better, you'll end up seeing the cost going down. So it might actually be a more a better option moving into the future. But I think for now, for resale value, for me, I would connect it to the grid, because you're going to basically open up your entire market.
Yeah.
That's the way that I see it. Coming up, we're going to be talking about investment properties, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you want to join the conversation, you can call us at 514-790-800 or text us at 514-800. As well, you can watch the show and comment on Facebook.com/Northeast Mortgages.
The Real Estate Show is brought to you by Northeast Mortgages.
Your Greater Montreal Mitsubishi deal.
The Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV offers everything you expect in an SUV, plus big savings on gas with its electric drive and superior handling thanks to the Super All-Wheel Control. Purchase a new Outlander PHEV now. Get our no-charge extension.
See, somebody asked me, are you going to be talking about the article in the Montreal Gazette? Somebody actually messaged me. And this is not even a real estate
way too much attention.
Way too much attention.
Man, no.
This is
do you want me to be
want.
interviewed or not? But do you want me to be interviewed?
Yeah, that I don't mind.
So there you go. Well, this is how I'm gonna get interviewed.
No, but it's not about the interview. I'm just saying you're giving the Montreal Gazette journalist who wrote that faulty article
but people
way too much attention.
No, because she's actually getting attention, but the attention is not good.
You can't just take 17,000 people, put them all in the same boat and say all real estate brokers are out to screw you.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying this is exactly what she wants. She wants publicity.
No, but I don't think it's good publicity. I think she's going to rethink what she's... For me, it's a matter of principle, and for everybody else, not even brokers, even other people wrote in saying, what a shame. They're putting our industry down. And she was seen
as an industry, not expert, but like journalist, expert in real estate.
Give both sides of the story.
Reporting properly.
Yeah. So I think this is what we need to do. We're in this industry. We're leaders in this industry. This is our job to do this. If I didn't do this, people would be like, "Oh, you didn't say anything?" No, she's interviewed me before. There's no way I would let this go.
Well, it was brought to her attention by you and multiple other people. People were extremely upset about that article.
I'm telling you, people. Oh my God. No, it's not even upset about the article. It's upset that it wasn't even a good article. It wasn't even give people advice.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, you're gonna say something. End it with. And by the way, this is what you should know when you take a real estate broker. Ask them about this. Ask them about that. Make sure they have this. Make sure they have that, and you'll be in good hands at that point.
Yeah.
I know.
And we're going to be talking about getting an expert. Talk to an expert. She basically said in the article, so the subline, first line is brokers, beware of nice brokers. Second subline, don't listen to what they say. Don't trust your broker. What are we saying on the show? We're saying, get a broker. Get somebody who's going to help you. That's not right. It's not right. It's like saying... Don't get an
It's
inspector.
like saying all lawyers are bad lawyers, or like out to screw you. Again, if you listen to all the noise, you're never going to...
No, but we're leaders in this industry. We can't just let misinformation... Our job is we're educating people here. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is like contradicting
your mission.
Yeah. And I would like for her to call me, and I would like for her to interview me, or I would like to, you know what? I'm going to write a letter to the editor. Another real estate broker already did. You want to have real stories? Call us.
Yeah.
The U.S. government might closing it on Friday as a deadline for an agreement on border security funding approaches.
Are we in the hot seat here, people?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Oh, so the gala.
Yes. Where are we going? We're going to the gala on Saturday.
You don't have your ticket?
I have it in my bag. We are
details?
going to. We have to
When
invite.
is the gala?
The gala is Saturday, February 16th, and it is for. Let me see the ticket.
The peri-operative.
Okay, so we go to this every year. It's Luciano Pepia who invites us. He's actually doing the news right now. We're sitting at his table, myself, Marav, Terry, and a couple of other people from our office. It's the 19th annual edition, Saturday, February 16 at 6 p.m. It's at Le Madison, which is in
900 people already.
900 people or more. It's a huge thing. It's beautiful.
It's amazing.
But you know what?
For the Montreal General, it's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Open bar.
It's
I
Friends
think I don't
for
have
the
to
Cure.
say more. Open bar.
We're not drinkers, but for those of you who are, open bar. But you know what? You might have heard Friends for the Cure. We always take pictures every year.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Friends for the Cure.
Very nice gala. Very nice. Nicely executed.
Yeah.
Stories of.
There's our ticket.
People who dealt with the team, the peri-operative team.
Yeah.
And got excellent care. And honestly, we're there to support them. We've all had family members with cancer. And
the best is really meeting the team of the doctors who do what they do. They talk about what they do, and then you meet people who've actually gotten the care, their family. Honestly, it's when you hear the stories, and then you think, wow. If I'm ever like in this situation, I have to go through all this. It's tough.
Yeah.
But
so join us. Definitely join us. We would love to meet you in person.
If people want tickets, you guys can let us know, and we'll let Luciano know, because there's definitely probably more seats. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
For sure. So friendsforthecure.ca actually. They can go.
Oh, it's written?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Friendsforthecure.ca. Actually, we'll put a note.
Yeah, maybe you could just post
it,
because I know that the subject is close to a lot of people's hearts, and if anybody wants to join us, with pleasure. Oh, welcome back, Terry. Come back to the hot seat.
By the way, Terry, I did get a message saying,
is up?
Are you going to be talking about that article in the Montreal Gazette on our feed?
No. I'm not talking about it.
Why, you're scared of making enemies?
No, me? No. I'm not. I don't want to talk about it.
We were just talking about the fact that we are going to be telling people to get experts to help them, right? This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
The article basically said, don't trust real estate brokers, Terry. It just said it up top. Don't trust real estate brokers.
Yeah.
That's wrong. It's point final. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Terry's commercial.
You should play one time those commercials that they made fun of you on K103.
Oh my God! Have you ever heard those commercials?
Oh my God! We have to post them on Facebook. I'm gonna get them. They're on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You never heard them?
So
they
funny.
spent the whole week K103. I'm gonna come over here because it's weird for people to just hear my voice.
Yeah, who's that lady talking?
They spent the whole week on K103. Like it was what, I don't know, 7-8 years ago.
Oh, we have to hear that.
Making fun of Terry's commercials. But it was like every situation was, I'm drowning. What do we do? Let's call Terry Kilakos. I have an accident. What do we do? Let's call Terry Kilakos. It was like the whole week, every day, they created a new commercial.
They called it the satirical Kilakos week.
You need to put that on your, like,
oh my
it needs to be on your Facebook. Like that, when people get to your page, that's what they need to see. The laugh of the day. That's the best. Guys, don't you want to laugh? Everybody loves to laugh.
I'll post them.
Post them, please.
We can help.
So I have a couple of questions here about tiny houses.
Oh. They want a tiny house, they can go to St. Henry or Lachine. We have lots of tiny houses in Lachine East. No, literally.
No, but these are the new houses that they're building now. They're
in Montreal? I haven't seen this in Montreal.
They're very popular in Toronto. Very popular.
In Toronto.
Under 500 square feet.
Yeah. I think here I've heard of some in the eastern townships, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. But in Montreal, I haven't. Tiny houses for me downtown.
The downtown studios there. It's like a hotel room that you're buying.
Here?
Yeah, downtown here.
Okay,
here,
I've never
here.
heard of them. I've heard of tiny condos in the.
Yeah, tiny condos.
Okay. Tiny houses though, it's like it's a house.
I don't know. Unless he's talking about up north. The little houses that they built.
Yes.
Like 1,000 square feet
Yeah,
or not
yeah.
even 700
Those
square
are cool.
feet. But they're very well laid out.
Yeah. And you can like pull out a bed and
Yeah. Your bed becomes a table.
I think someone wants to hear more of us. He's like, you guys started at 1 p.m. There's like 25 minutes of news and commercials.
I know, eh? You know what's funny? You say that, Terry. Yesterday, I think somebody commented on when you posted the show. One of your clients, I don't know, somebody, Debbie something, said you need a 2-hour slot.
All right. This is a fake Z.
No.
Is it a real Z?
What do you mean it's a fix?
And the texts are coming in fast and furious, and quite a few comments on Facebook as well. Okay, so we've got James Bay Hydro is the best investment we ever made. Clean energy. Loyal CJAD fan. Thank you for that. As always, great show. That's a good one as well. I like these texts.
You're getting
where
the love.
we get the love. Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, Terry. A question that I have for you. You don't know. I don't know if you have answered it before. I've been pre-approved for the condos going up on the children's hospital. The problem is I'm renting right now. I want to buy a house. The bank is telling me that I cannot get another mortgage even though the condos are only being built in 2 years. So the first thing that you need to understand is that property that you've been pre-approved for, it's not a pre-approval, it's actually a mortgage approval. So seeing as it's a mortgage approval, you're basically lined up to buy it. You can do the kind of dishonest thing and hide it because you haven't actually bought it yet. Or you can kind of admit it and say, well, I don't know if I'm going to end up buying it in the future. If, depends on what's going to happen. We have had clients that in the middle of a situation like that, they do end up buying something else, even though the ratios could be potentially a little wonky. The problem is you got to remember is it jeopardizes your purchase in the future for the next one, because before you're going to end up having to buy the next one, you're going to have to requalify again. So there's a few questions that I have, whether or not it's 5% down, whether it's 20% down. Is it CMHC backed, not CMHC backed? Is it Genworth? Depends on a few other questions. I would suggest that you give me a call at the office. We could sit down and we could really look at this in detail. And our number at the office is 514-680-4674. By all means, that's what we're there for, and I'll be happy to help. We have a caller, Sean from Côte Saint-Luc. Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Excellent.
Thank you very much for a great show. Very informative all the time.
Thank you, Sean. Very much appreciated.
Great. I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
I own a few income properties.
Okay.
Some of them date back to when they were built in 1964.
That's it? The oldest one I have is 1892.
Okay.
That's
sorry,
considered pretty new for Montreal. We're like, that's good.
That's right. That's it. Yeah. No, sorry. I have to joke around, Sean. Please go on.
When it comes to real estate and money, you have to joke around.
That's right.
My question is, how long do I have to keep the deeds for? I have the deeds going back to when the buildings were built. Recently, I sold a building in Snowden. The notary that I was dealing with didn't ask me for any of its documentation. So I have all of these documents in a safety deposit box for all of my buildings. So what's the protocol now? Can I get rid of these documents?
So all the deeds are pretty much registered before a certain period. They're, if you go to the land registry, you could find them. You don't really need to keep them. Notaries don't typically ask you anymore to transfer them from one person to another. You do get the odd person here and the odd notary here and there that's going to tell you, bring me all the deeds that you have and all that stuff. But typically not. I mean, I'm the same way, Sean. I mean, I keep everything. I made the joke before about my property being from 1892. This is the property that my parents originally had bought in 1973, and they had all the deeds. And I'm talking about, I have deeds going back to 1892. And actually, I was showing them to some people the other day at the office, and people were kind of,
I'm surprised,
fascinated.
though.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, though, just to cut in, that Sean, the notary, I know all the notaries work a bit differently,
Sure.
but the protocol is, and actually it's written on your offer, that the owner, the seller, should actually provide the title deeds in his possession to
If he has them.
If he has them. And again, the notary's not going to say you have to, but technically speaking, you could keep copies, but you should pass them along to.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if you don't have them,
yeah,
you don't have them. What are you going to do?
All.
Yeah.
They're all in safety deposit boxes.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I'm wasting my money on various safety deposit boxes for information I really don't need.
If that is the only thing that you're keeping in the safety deposit box, I wouldn't have them in the safety deposit box. So let me put it to you that way.
Okay, so I can somewhere else.
Yeah. But if you want to be sure, speak to a notary. You could pick up the phone, call a notary, and just say, hey, listen, I have a really quick question. And, they're typically pretty good to answer these questions.
I've phoned too, and I've got two different answers.
Yeah,
so that's why,
typical.
that's why I'm
Typical.
calling you.
I wouldn't waste. I
would-
honestly wouldn't waste my money putting them in a
Honestly,
safety deposit box.
No, but
Yeah.
I would ask the buyer.
Yeah.
So whoever purchased your property, do you want these deeds? And give them.
But he's not selling right now.
I have actually.
Oh, I
Yeah.
understood that he
Oh,
sold.
no,
he
no,
said
no.
he sold a property in Snowden, and he still has the deeds. Correct?
What I said, I
Oh.
had all the deeds, and I didn't need to provide them, but as courtesy, I gave them all.
Yes.
Got it.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
The notary, no sense in me holding on to them.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the question. Oh, yeah, second question.
Second question,
Yes,
if
please.
you don't mind.
Yeah.
Own a property that has a 20-year mortgage on it,
Mm-hmm.
term for 5 years, locked in.
Yep.
Of course, that 5 years in the documentation within the mortgage, it specifically says the amount of interest and cost over that 5-year term. So let's say it's $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
2 years into the mortgage, you've paid X amount of interest to borrow that money for 2 years. It's safe to say the penalty should not be more than the total amount of the 5 years stated within the documentation less the interest I've paid?
No, because when we're calculating penalties, and this is where people get really bit sometimes, what ends up happening is you have what's called an interest rate differential penalty that you can pay, or you can pay 3 months of interest penalty. So 3 months of interest penalty is very simple. It's basically 3 months of whatever interest rate you have. Yeah, exactly. I'm oversimplifying it a little bit, but typically that's what it is.
Right.
Then you end up having what's called an interest rate differential penalty. And an interest rate differential penalty, and if I can't say it properly, you know that it's kind of bad.
All of those houses, okay.
Yeah. So an interest rate differential penalty basically means, very simply, that they're going to look at what interest rate you have. They're going to look at what interest rate is available on the market. Yep. That delta, that difference between the two, is what your penalty is going to be based on. As well, if you received a discount, so in other words, if you got a discount from the posted rate, so 5.34, now you're down to 2.5, something like that, that discount that you got will also be tacked on. They're going to figure out what the penalty is per year and then multiply it by the number of years that are remaining on your term. And that's what the penalty is. And I've seen some nasty penalties out there.
So
and,
it can be more than
sure,
what
yeah. Well, typically not, but it could. Typically not, yeah.
It depends how much they paid you with regards to, of course, they're always giving you incentives.
Yeah, exactly.
And, of course, if they're giving you a discounted rate, some of them are quite substantial. 2 years ago was quite competitive.
Exactly. Thank you, Sean. Have a great day. And we have Michael from NDG with a problem with a notary.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michael. How are you?
I wonder if you could answer a quick question
Sure.
for me. I have a family member who was involved in a real estate transaction that went sour. And to put this as antiseptically as I can, the gentleman asked her that he was under the wire and he had X amount of hours to make some kind of a payment.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to the notary
Mm-hmm.
with a money order for X amount of dollars,
Yeah.
payable to the notary. So obviously this is being held in trust.
Mm-hmm.
The deal has obviously gone south. there's no contact between.
Michael, I'm gonna put you on hold in 1 second. I want you to hold because it's a really good question. And I have a feeling I know where it's going. We're just gonna break. We're gonna head to the CJAD Traffic Center with Kira Yeager.
Now an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
Well, we do have an accident right now. It's on the eastbound Metropolitan at Saint Denis. So it is jammed up on the eastbound Metropolitan from around Rockland over to Saint Denis. It's bumper to bumper and about a 20-minute delay, I would say, at this point. So you might want to hop onto the service road. And things are being affected as well on...
Okay. We literally
didn't talk about
investments.
Yeah, but that's a good sign. That means people want their questions answered.
Now we need part 2.
Part 2 of an inexistent part.
Just part 1, part 1.1. 1.1, ça va être la semaine prochaine.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Version 1.
Mais au moins, je pense parce qu'on parle de hypothèque puis immobilier, les deux, alors les gens, ils ont des questions. N'est-ce pas, Terry?
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Qu'est-ce qui se passe avec le français?
Je sais, c'est le français qui m'est...
On est au Québec, les amis.
C'est parce que je m'en vais une soirée au Paris. That's why.
Oh, is it Paris themed?
I don't know. It's
No, you do not wear a beret.
I'm wearing a beret, 1,000%.
I'm wearing a beret, and I don't know, what else should I wear?
A baguette.
A baguette?
I'm bringing a baguette, I'm wearing a beret, and
a pinceau.
A pinceau.
I don't know.
Picture. What's wrong with you, man?
And you just look around.
I cracked myself up. I found that much funnier than you guys.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you know what?
We need a 2-hour show, guys.
Well, the first hour is just for your questions. The second hour is
hilarious. Interesting. I tried something interesting today, and
it's giving results.
No, it's not. It's very interesting.
Oh, not at all.
En parenthèse, Facebook blows. The way that they do their
Facebook now, the way they dissipate and stuff.
It's very different, eh? It's
very different. Very different. Interesting.
Well, we had the social media guys speak at our conference and explain exactly what all these social media platforms are doing.
I hate our washers that much.
Hand me the salad spinner. Gotta dry my socks.
Any excuse
By the way,
is good to replace
if
your appliances.
for anyone from Facebook that heard that, I never said that.
Facebook already recorded you saying it, dude. It's too late. You can't take it back.
There's a hitman. That's what that van that just pulled up outside.
Oh man.
There's a satellite like pointing at me right now.
So yeah, well, we're
my
gonna
God,
be...
it's Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Isn't that the founder?
Is that the founder? Or are we mixing up names again?
No.
Did you hear what happened to Dan Lasher last week? No. So he's doing the comedy show, right?
Oh.
And he wanted to say James... What was he saying? James... Oh my God. What's that porn star's name?
Yeah.
Ron Jeremy. No, he wanted to say James Jeremy or something like that. That was the guy's name, right? So as he's in the, I'm preparing for the show and he's sitting there, he's doing the show, and I see him hesitate, and he didn't say the name right away because he was mixing it up. And as soon as it went to commercial, I go to him, I know what you wanted to say. You wanted to say Ron Jeremy, right? And he's like, no, that's not what Anyways, when he came back and he played the clip, he announced it as Ron Jeremy, and then he ended it afterwards with Ron Jeremy as well. Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't really get into anything about investing, guys, yet. So if you're thinking of investing, hold on. We have 10 minutes left to talk about investing.
Yeah, maybe you could just talk a little bit.
But we have
a caller. I have text.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might not be able to cover it today.
Hi, I'm Julie McKenzie.
You're not going to be able to cover it today.
No, but if you know what we should do is what we'll do is we'll forward this Facebook Live and collect people's questions maybe, and I don't know.
No, you're going to do a part 2 to this. You have no choice.
Because you know what? It's really a good year to invest, guys, in Montreal. Really.
It's always a good time to invest in real estate.
Yeah, but especially this year.
Yes.
I say this every year, but especially this year.
No, but this year is
c'est l'enfer. You know why? People keep saying, and I keep reading, oh, the prices are going up. It's like you can't afford. But you know what? You can, because there's different properties out there. what you think is an investment may not be an investment. There's a lot of information. I mean, a lot of good quality. I was looking at townhouses, old townhouses in downtown. I found a few for like 500,000, but the rents. So you'll have one tenant, but the rents are high.
Is it a fake Z or is it a real Z?
Listening to The Real Estate Show with your real estate and mortgaging team, Terry Kilakos and Eleni Akrivos on CJAD 800.
And we're coming up to the last little bit of our show here. We have Michael from NDG. I'm sorry about that, Michael. I had to cut you off before.
No problem.
Yes, please continue.
So there was she deposited this money order at
Sure.
the notary
Yep.
for X amount of dollars, and at the same time deposited the matching money order at the real estate office where this transaction was also supposed to be taken care of. When I and so let's just say it didn't work out, and there was no communication again with that gentleman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
After, simultaneously as giving that money order to the notary. So when I tried to contact the notary,
Mm-hmm.
the notary basically said it's none of her business, and, you know, the short story, that's what he said. And she has no right to know whatever was in that file. Now, when I spoke to a lawyer, the lawyer had said that no, that when that money is held in trust, she becomes a part of that file if he accepted that money.
100%.
And the real estate office also was not forthcoming and wouldn't really do anything. So I contacted the Notaire de Quebec and the commission or whatever it was called. And, you know, I got we can open up a file, that type of thing, and blah, blah, blah. But again, I mean, for a notary, I mean, why would he not be forthcoming and just opening up the file? And
Okay. So, Michael, the first thing that you need to understand is that there's a lot of people in Quebec, in Canada, in the States, everywhere in the world, and there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of nasty people. And when you look at even my profession and Eleni's profession, and I'm sure your profession as well, there's a lot of good mortgage brokers, a lot of good real estate brokers, and a lot of really bad ones, okay? And you got to kind of take the good with the bad in a lot of cases. But
I'm
the thing,
not that naive.
yeah. So obviously, I mean, Michael, in a case like this, what I would suggest is obviously what you guys did would be to contact the Chambre de Notaire to find out what is really going on. If that is not a satisfactory and you feel that you've been wronged by the real estate house as well, well, in that case, you can actually reach out to the OACIQ. The beautiful thing about Quebec is we operate under the Civil Code. And because we operate under the Civil Code, the whole ethos of it, the whole idea behind the Civil Code is consumer protection. So because it's consumer protection, there is a lot of options that you have. Eleni, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but...
Well, I was listening to the story. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of information missing. Why did the person back out? Is a deposit that is, refundable deposit, which is one type? Is it a deposit that is a penalty deposit, which is not refundable? So there's a lot of information in the story that I don't have to give you specific information. And the other thing is, are you a party within the transaction? Because if you're not, unfortunately, a notary may not
divulge
have
information.
to divulge any information
100%.
to you. So I'm missing a little bit of the information.
No, I was with her at the time.
Okay,
no, but are
understood.
you in the transaction? Are you named as a party?
No, but she had made that request, not me, at the notary's office.
Okay, so the transaction did not go through for some reason. Somebody changed their mind. Somebody backed out.
I would imagine, and she doesn't know either because there's been no communication.
Okay,
so yeah, you know where I'm going with that. It's it's just a boyfriend girlfriend type of thing, and thought it was love, and obviously it wasn't. And so yeah, but I mean it was the scope of the rudeness and of the notary, and I mean it's just I was taken aback by the whole situation. Obviously.
Yeah, well, it does get heated sometimes.
It does.
We've seen it, but yeah, Chambre des Notaires would be what you'd have to contact for the notary complaint.
And they're generally, I mean, to go legally, I mean, we're talking, it would cost as much as what she's lost. I mean,
well, you don't want to. I wouldn't go there. I would reach out to the Chambre de Notaire. I think the Chambre de Notaire would probably be the best people to reach out to.
But
and
also
again,
the real estate office.
or the
I
real
mean,
estate board, exactly.
If you reach out to the director of the agency.
Yeah,
and,
100%. 100%.
Yeah, they still haven't got back to me, but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll try the real estate board also.
Yeah. Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. We're quickly running out of real estate here. We have a question here, and it's actually along the lines of investing, and it's someone that wants to know if there are any tiny houses for sale on the South Shore or North Shore. Is it a good idea to buy one now or wait? Any ideas? Have you seen
tiny houses? I'm not gonna talk about the new tiny houses they build on HGTV, but in general, South Shore and North Shore, we do see a lot of the smaller homes for first-time buyers who cannot afford a bigger home. You know what? They're efficient. All your expenses are low, and it's something that more and more people are interested in. Why not?
100%. And actually, it's funny that we got this text because it's been something that I've been talking about this whole week with my wife. I'm in the process of looking at doing some developing on some land that I have up north.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is building tiny houses.
You could rent them out for people
smaller.
who are...
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Eleni, we didn't cover our topic at all, but I love it. I love the texts. I love the calls.
Yeah.
We've had some comments here coming in that this should be a 2-hour show. I agree. I'm going to speak to the programming director. Let's see if they'll agree. If you guys didn't get your chance to text us or call us in, please, you can reach us at the office, 514-680-4674. As well, again, you can find us on facebook.com/Northeast Mortgages. Anything you want to add, Eleni?
I would just say, you know what, tune in next week. Check out Northeast Mortgages, Northeast Realties online. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. If you guys have any comments, questions for us, we're always there. The office is 514-680-4674.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Bye,
The
guys.
opinions expressed in the preceding program were provided for general information purposes.
Yeah, they rambled a little bit too far there.
But I mean, it's
Thank you everyone for listening.
because people are listening and calling in and asking questions. So
100%.
to people, bye guys.
I'd rather that
Text
than a
us.
show that's not
Yeah.
interactive.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? Yeah, people can reach out to us during the week. Bye.
Bye
Rav is
everyone.
telling
Have a
us to wave
wonderful
bye.
rest of the weekend and see you all next week.